Right now, there's a battle unfolding on live television. Melania Trump just walked onto Fox News, calling her husband a unifier. But minutes earlier, on the same network, Jessica Tarloff laid out the receipts. 2,300 illegal detentions since July, 2 killings, 8 minutes without medical care. The question isn't whether Trump lowered the temperature, it's whether anyone's even pretending anymore. Stay with us, because what happens next exposes the gap between rhetoric and reality. Here's what makes this moment so revealing. Fox News, the network that built Trump's brand, just gave airtime to two completely opposing narratives. Within minutes of each other, Jessica Tarloff, armed with court data, Politico tracking, and the names of Americans killed in federal operations. Then Melania, offering platitudes about unity, while her husband calls Minnesota totally corrupt and tells Somali Americans to get the hell out. This isn't just political theater. It's a stress test. How long can you sell peacemaker when the policies speak louder than the PR? The American people are already answering that question, and the polls, they're not kind. Let's rewind. January 2025. Donald Trump is back in the White House, his second term, defined by one signature promise: mass deportations. ICE raids sweep through Minnesota, Chicago, New York. The administration says it's enforcement. Critics say it's chaos. Then, the footage starts leaking, an ICE agent on camera, threatening a bystander. You raise your voice, I erase your voice. Agents trying to breach an Ecuadorian embassy, violating international law. 2 Americans, shot and killed during enforcement operations. One of them, Renee Good, alive for 8 minutes. No medical care. All of this happening while Trump claims he's lowering the temperature. And then, Melania Trump appears on Fox News. Same network. Same day Jessica Tarloff unloaded a fact-based takedown. The First Lady's message? Her husband is a unifier, not just in America, but around the world. The contradiction couldn't be sharper. Here's how this unfolded. Fox News. The 5. January 2025. The panel is discussing Trump's second term. Jessica Tarloff, rotating contributor, known Trump critic, is on set. She's armed with data. Kyle Cheney from Politico has been tracking detention cases, 2,300 cases since July, where judges ruled ICE illegally detained someone. That's not opinion, that's court record. Then, the human toll. Renee Good, shot 3 times, alive for 8 minutes. No medical assistance. Alex Prey, killed over the weekend, both during ICE or Border Patrol operations. Tarloff lays it out methodically. She names the victims, cites the rulings, questions the narrative. Her point? Trump didn't lower the temperature. He raised it. Minutes later, Melania Trump joins the panel. She's promoting a new film. One critic said people would walk out even if it was shown on a plane. But she's also there to deliver a message. Her husband, she says, is a peacemaker, a unifier, not just domestically, but globally. The host asks her directly, what role does she play in unifying the country? Her answer? People just need to come on the same page and see Trump wants to make America safer and better. No acknowledgement of the raids, no mention of the deaths, just cooperation. A closer look reveals the problem. Who is at the center of this? Melania Trump, the First Lady, trying to reshape her husband's image. Jessica Tarloff, Fox News contributor, armed with court records and victim names, and the Trump administration, DHS, ICE, Border Patrol, executing the largest deportation operation in modern history. What actually happened? 2 narratives collided on live television. Tarloff presented documented evidence, illegal detentions, fatal shootings, violations of international law. Melania offered generalities, unity, peace, understanding. No specifics, no acknowledgement. When did this escalate? January 2025. Trump's second term launch. ICE operations ramped up immediately. The killings, the detentions, the embassy breach, all within weeks. Where is this playing out? Minnesota, ground zero for enforcement, but also Chicago, New York, nationwide, and now, Fox News, the administration's friendliest platform, hosting both the criticism and the defense. Why does this matter? Because the American people are watching, and according to polling, they don't like what they see. 59% say ICE has gone too far. Only 17% say not aggressive enough. That's not a fringe opinion. That's a majority. Even on Fox News, analysts are admitting the administration hit its political limits. How is the White House responding? By doubling down, labeling a killed man a domestic terrorist with no evidence of ideology, calling Minnesota totally corrupt, telling Somali Americans to get the hell out, Trump at a rally, claiming election rigging, dehumanizing entire communities. This isn't temperature control, this is gasoline on a fire. And the next detail changes everything. The escalation didn't happen in a vacuum, it happened in real time, on camera, with receipts. Let's trace the pattern. First, the ICE agent video surfaces. You raise your voice. I erase your voice. A direct threat, caught on recording. No ambiguity. Then, agents attempt to enter the Ecuadorian embassy. International law, clear prohibition. A consulate worker says, "Back up." The agent responds, "If you touch me, I'll grab you." This isn't protocol. This is confrontation. Then, the deaths. Renee Good, 3 bullets. 8 minutes of life left. No medical intervention. Alex Prey, killed over the weekend. Details still emerging. And here's where it gets critical. Kyle Cheney at Politico starts tracking court cases. He finds 2,300 since July alone, where judges ruled ICE violated the law. Not allegations, rulings. That means ICE, the enforcement arm of the federal government, lost in court over 2,000 times in 6 months. Now, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, labels one of the killed men a domestic terrorist. A reporter asks, "Where's the evidence of his ideology?" Silence, deflection, no answer. Meanwhile, another man is dead. Border Patrol this time. He was recording on his phone, documenting the operation. No gun waving, no threat, just filming. And now he's gone. Elected officials are demanding answers. Governor Tim Walz calling for accountability. Jessica Tarlov on Fox, saying Kristi Noem should resign or be impeached. The pressure is building. But the administration? They're not backing down. They're escalating the rhetoric. Trump at a rally, calling Minnesota rigged, telling communities to leave. This is the context Melania walked into, and what she said next reveals the disconnect. So let's synthesize what we're really seeing here. Melania Trump says her husband is a unifier. She says people need to come on the same page. But here's the question no one asked her on air. What page is that? Because if it's the page where ICE agents threaten civilians on camera, that's not unity. If it's the page where judges rule against your enforcement tactics 2,300 times in 6 months, that's not lawful governance. If it's the page where 2 Americans are killed, 1 left to die for 8 minutes, and the administration's first response is to label them terrorists without evidence, that's not leadership. That's deflection. And here's where the opinion synthesis becomes unavoidable. Melania's appearance wasn't about healing, it was about optics. A soft sell on a network that just minutes earlier aired hard evidence to the contrary. Think about the choreography. Jessica Tarlov goes first. She names victims. She cites court cases. She challenges the narrative. Then Melania arrives. Film promotion, platitudes, zero accountability. It's a deliberate contrast, and it's designed to do one thing: muddy the waters, make you question what you just heard, make you think, well, maybe there are 2 sides. But here's the reality. There aren't 2 sides to illegal detention. There aren't 2 sides to denying medical care. There aren't two sides to threatening civilians on video. Those are facts, not opinions. And when Melania says Trump is working to make America safer and better, we have to ask, safer for whom? Not for Renee Good, not for Alex Prey, not for the 2,300 people illegally detained, not for the families raided in Minnesota, not for Somali Americans told to get the hell out, so when she calls him a unifier, the evidence says otherwise, and the American people, according to Fox's own polling, agree. 59% say it's gone too far. That's not the left. That's not activists. That's everyday Americans watching this unfold and saying, this isn't who we are. But the story deepens when you look at what Trump himself is saying. Let's zoom out. Because this isn't just about one Fox News segment. This is about a pattern, a strategy, and a breaking point. Historically, every administration that's attempted mass enforcement operations has faced a reckoning. Operation Wetback in the 1950s, widely condemned. Workplace raids under George W. Bush, public backlash. Family separations under Trump's first term, national outcry. The common thread? When enforcement becomes visible, when it becomes human. Americans recoil. We're a compassionate people, even toward those here illegally. That's not weakness, that's identity. And right now, we're watching that identity collide with this administration's approach. Trump says he's draining the swamp, but what we're seeing looks more like flooding the streets, with agents who violate protocol, with operations that judges repeatedly rule illegal, with rhetoric that dehumanizes entire communities. And here's the broader implication. When 59% of Americans say you've gone too far, that's not a messaging problem, that's a legitimacy problem. When your own network's analysts say you've hit your political limits, that's not spin, that's a warning. Because democracies function on consent, not just at the ballot box, but in daily governance. And when the governed start saying, this isn't right, loudly, consistently, across party lines, you're not just losing the narrative, you're losing the mandate. Now add Melania's Fox appearance into this context. She's not there by accident. She's there because someone in Trump's orbit knows the temperature is rising, and they need a counterweight, a softer voice, a humanizing presence. But it's not working. Because you can't paper over policy with personality, not when people are dying, not when courts are ruling against you thousands of times, not when your own husband is on stage, telling Americans to get the hell out. The implications go beyond politics. This is about trust, in institutions, in law enforcement, in the idea that America, at its core, protects the vulnerable. And right now, that trust is fracturing. So where does this go from here? Watch the courts. 2,300 rulings against ICE, and counting. That's not a trend. That's an avalanche. Watch the polling. 59% is a majority, but it's also movable. If more footage leaks, if more Americans are killed, that number climbs. Watch Congress. Democrats are demanding investigations. Some Republicans, quietly, are expressing concern. The word impeachment has been mentioned for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. And watch Trump, because if history tells us anything, he doesn't pivot. He doubles down, which means more rallies, more inflammatory rhetoric, more conflict between what Melania says and what her husband does. The gap between unifier and reality, it's widening. And the American people are taking notes. This isn't over, it's just beginning. So the question isn't whether Trump lowered the temperature, it's whether anyone believes he ever intended to. Stay informed, stay critical, and don't look away, because what happens next defines who we are.